My name is Rosalind Helfand, and I am your hostess for tonight. Thank you again. Welcome to Specters, Spirits, and Spies, a night of spooky storytelling at the Last Bookstore. This is a great way to get your Halloween season started off, if you have not already done so. I want to thank the Last Bookstore and Billy Mark here for doing such an amazing job of hosting us tonight. So thank you, Last Bookstore. Woo! We have an absolutely sensational lineup of, we're actually now 15 instead of 13, but we can still think of it as 13 and keep it spooky. We have 15 incredible authors and performers, and almost all of these stories are original. And if they're not original, they are sensational as well. And excuse me, we are in the middle of an event here.
I'm looking for a book.
Well, you can go out. There are books out there.
When you're undead.
When you're what?
Undead.
When you're what to expect when you're when you're undead.
When you're it's a tricky situation.
Okay. Well, I'm sure, Billy, do they have books on the undead here?
Yes, it's over.
Or do you? Okay, the undead section is over there, but we really have to get started. So,
Take a seat.
well, no, I think somebody's going to be using that seat tonight. So, what's wrong with your fingers? There, your flesh seems to be falling off. Should I call an ambulance?
You get up early, you try to look good, and then you stand on the metro for like 2 hours. Things happen.
Okay. Well, I like public transportation in Los Angeles, and I think we should try and use it. But I'm worried. I don't want my fingers to fall off. That's true. That looks a little dangerous.
Sneak into the car when the door's closing.
Okay. I will not try to get into the car right when the door is closing. I did that once when I was a kid. It was not pretty. Maybe twice. No, my fingers did not end up looking like that. So, yes, I'm very, very lucky. Well, do you think we can, get started with our spooky storytelling now? Please, yeah. I mean, you can watch. You can join the audience. It'll be really great. We have zombie stories.
Good, my favorite.
Okay, well, all right. Thank you very much. So, bye. Little visits here tonight. Okay, so I would like to introduce our first performers tonight. They are Janice and Gideon Markham, doing Weekend at Camp Dust Bowl. Janice and Gideon create all kinds of music, art, film, and theater for the Vox Box Arts Collective. They are looking forward to the release of their first feature film collaboration with Mel England and Magical Iguana Productions. It's called Ron and Laura Take Back America. But now, Janice and Gideon Markham. Thank you.
My leaf is coming out. Weekend at Camp Dust Bowl by me, Jo Heller. Last weekend, Camp Dust Bowl hosted the annual Girl Scout Weekend Jamboree. Our troop leader, Sheila, and the Girl Scouts had been gathering there since the Scouts were founded by Juliet Lowe. Juliet married William Lowe on December 21st, 1886. After the ceremony, a grain of rice tossed from the guests became lodged in Juliet's ear. When it was removed, her eardrum was punctured and became infected and disgusting and caused her to be legally deaf in that ear. That's a true story. Juliet divorced William after that, but not because of the weird ear thing, because he was a cheater and a liar. But I don't have time to tell that whole story. But I brought my Juliet Lowe book report right here, so if you want one, I can give you later. So, I thought Camp Dust Bowl might be different this year. I was already in 5th grade, but the Green Meanies still wouldn't let me join. The Green Meanies aren't just Girl Scouts. They're the coolest, best scouts in the school. And to get in, Debbie Clark had to pick you, and you had to be a Girl Scout, and pretty, or at least not too ugly. But Camp Dust Bowl wasn't different this year. It still smelled like pine trees, old chili, and of course, dust. And the only one who lived at Camp Dust Bowl all year round was Shep, the camp's caretaker and creepy cafeteria cook. He was so old that some of the girls whispered that he'd actually died in 1967. It's really scary. Well, I didn't want to end up like Shep, old, collecting dust, my best years behind me, never having been a green meanie. So our first night at camp, I marched straight up to Debbie and Brenda, and I demanded to know why I hadn't been asked to join.
Oh my God, we didn't even know you wanted to join. You're always so quiet, sitting by yourself, writing in that
journal.
Whatever.
And then Brenda said,
fine, if you want to be in, pass the initiation.
So the initiation was, I had to wait until everyone was asleep, and at midnight, I had to sneak out of bed, cross the woods, and steal something from the cafeteria kitchen. The kitchen where Shep slept.
You don't have to, but if you don't, you can't be a green meanie.
And then Brenda said,
yeah.
So that night, I made my way into the darkness through the woods. And there were owls. Strange noises. I approached the cafeteria building cautiously. I climbed up on top of a narrow fence, balancing precariously as I peered through a crack window. And there was Shep, lying there in a gray cot with a whole set of carving knives right next to him. I jumped back into the darkness, making my way to a back door. I crept around and pulled on it. No, it was locked. I ran around to the side door. I didn't know if he was following me, but I had to get inside and steal something. So I went to the front door. It was locked too. So I went to a window, crashed it open, and I climbed through the window and I was in the cafeteria. I stood silently against a wall, waiting for Shep to go back to his room. I could see his dark silhouette, his hand now clutching a huge knife. I didn't want to end up in Shep's mystery stew. I darted into the kitchen storeroom and saw the perfect thing. I grabbed this big bag of oatmeal raisin cookies and put it in my backpack and jumped out a back door. Back at the cabin, the girls were still awake.
Wow, my God, you did it. You're totally in.
The day that followed was the best day ever. I was still basking in the warmth of my new friends during sharing memories time at the campfire. Debbie was sharing her memory box first. It was filled with an ugly friendship bracelet that she made with Brenda and a bunch of interesting rocks that I found and gave her on our hike, including this really cool one that looked like a hamburger. Finally, Sheila called my name. What would I say? What would I say about the things in my memory box? About the broken piece of gold chain and the beautiful feather from the Stellar's jay? Oh, and the best thing was this big rock that I found, and I painted all my new friends' names on it. I opened the lid of my box, and I closed it quickly. I don't really feel like sharing right now.
Oh, come on, Joe. What's in the box? Yeah.
That was Brenda. I tuned them all out, and I forced myself to look in the box again. Lying in the box was a Stellar's jay. Dead. Dead. Its bright blue feathers and black head, its feet crossed in front of its motionless blue chest, almost as if in prayer. A single claw curled up in agony. I stared at the bird until the pain of what they'd done to me crumbled away just like the rotted branch of friendship they'd extended. I covered the box, and I heard Sheila say,
Okay, who wants to tell a campfire story?
I didn't even raise my hand. I just started talking. There was once a Steller's jay that lived deep in the woods. It was the most beautiful bird, electric blue with a coal black feathered head. Though it was just a bird, it had true feelings and always searched for the beauty in life. But there was a dark side too. Yes, the bird responded to thoughts of revenge and retribution. One night, a group of evil human devils, thought to be safe in their Dust Bowl cots, were awakened. That's right. The Steller's jay was upon them. The doors were locked, no escape, and the bird came in and pecked out their eyes. That's right, pecked out their eyes.
Okay, that's enough, Joe.
That's right, and the bleeding eye sockets, they were bleeding onto the
Yeah,
cot
I
and
said
onto
that's
the
enough.
floor. Wait, Sheila, there's a happy ending. The Steller's jay, it didn't kill the bullies, but rather left them alive so they would be forevermore victims of their own torment. That is the revenge of the Steller's jay.
Okay, time for bed.
No one could fall asleep. Debbie and Brenda were so scared they clung to each other in the same cot. Tina was actually crying.
I don't want my eyes pecked out. Mama said I have such pretty eyes.
It seemed like the perfect time for the cookies that I stole from the kitchen. I took the bag, passed it around, making sure everyone got one. And maybe the next day, I would get my sharing badge. We all went to sleep. I woke to the silence of the morning, except for the faint sounds of the flapping of birds' wings. And then Sheila's screams. All the girls were still in their cots, but they were very, very still and no longer breathing.
Those girls never should have had those cookies. I used them to get the raccoons. That's why it said poison on it. I put the label on myself. It said poison right there, plain as day. Darn kids, always leaving the door open.
Camp caretaker Shepard Stallings is being held without bail. More on the story as it develops.
The end. See me after if you want my book report on Juliet Love.